Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview Sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be interviewing an amazing guest, Chris Prefontaine. Chris is the Amazon bestselling author of Real Estate on Your Terms, Create Continuous Cash Flow Now Without Using Your Cash or Credit. He's also the founder of SmartRealEstateCoach.com and SmartRealEstateCoachPodcast.com. He's been in real estate for over 25 years. He's constructed over 100 single-family and duplex homes. He and his family and his team have done over 80 million in real estate transactions. They mentor, coach, consult, and actually partner with students around the country to do exactly what they do. His extensive experience is literally too long to list, but we're going to dive right into it. Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, it's great to be here, and I appreciate it, Seth.
You are welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's go back in time a little bit. How'd you get started in real estate?
You know, we started doing some what I called back then spot building, building single-family homes on pieces of land that we didn't even own back then because we weren't savvy enough to have financing set up. That was back in 1991 or so. That transitioned into doing some coaching around U.S. and Canada. We had clients, about 48 of them. And then that transitioned as the markets changed, right? That transitioned into doing some brokerage. We owned a real estate brokerage company. And then that transitioned into rehab. And then after the great debacle in '08, we started getting real smart and re-engineered our whole business to be what you just mentioned in the book, buying on terms.
Awesome. So let's go back through some of that. How do you build a house on land you don't own? How does that work?
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day because we do so much now on terms. We would go to the owners of land and we would ask them for this arrangement. We're going to build a home on your lot. So look, you got no risk if we're improving your lot. We're going to pre-sell a home on that lot and take a non-refundable deposit from our buyer. And then after we build it, we're going to close that out with the loan from our buyer and then pay you off. Now, we'll give you top price, but you got to wait until the end. We had all our subcontractors do the exact same thing. So everyone was waiting till the end loan was done.
Wow, that's a unique business model. I'd never honestly heard. We've done work with a number of real estate gurus, and I've never even heard of that before. Did you guys invent that, or did you just be the ones who got really good at it?
You know, you're going to think this is crazy, but obviously you've heard of Earl Nightingale, right?
Oh, strangest secret, of course.
Okay, so I was driving one day. This is honest to goodness how this came about. I was driving one day to a family business we had around New England, and I heard on one of his tapes, this gentleman during the Depression went around and put signs in people's yards and pre-sold the land for them and built a home on it. That's where I got the idea.
Wow.
So I don't know how long ago he told the story. You know, Depression, actually, is the answer. So that was.
Yeah, I was going to say that his recordings were in the late 20s, early 30s. So it's funny. We tell people all the time, you know, we ask them and when we meet with them, you know, who else in your industry have you studied? How far back have you gone? Because some of the best ideas are evergreen and work from 100 years ago. I mean, if you go back far enough, I can find get rich quick and real estate ads back in newspapers during the Civil War.
Yeah, I found old sales letters actually. And look, I mean, I tell sellers and buyers this, the stuff we're doing now with lease purchase and owner financing, all that, it existed for decades and decades before me and you. The difference is we took a system, put a system together and put support together and now just crush it on our own, but it's always existed.
It's absolutely incredible. Okay. So you start off building houses on land you don't own. That evolves to the next iteration of your business. How long were you spot building, as you called it? And then how did that evolve to the next version? And then we'll keep going from there.
Sure. Okay, good. I didn't know how much time we had. So that went till about 95 or 6. We got a little bit too big for our britches, I say, and we started building in subdivisions, and that beat us up. To the point where we said, you know what, we're spent. I really don't want to do this, you know, at this volume anymore. We're doing like 50 homes a year. So we bought I bought a Realty Executives franchise and actually started building a very kind of a high productivity, small team. We only had 15 agents, but they were required to do, I think it was 24 transactions at the time per year, or they had to leave. And so my intent of that was to build it and sell it. And I didn't know how yet, but that was the intent in 95. And we did that. In 2000, we sold to Coldwell Banker.
Congratulations. Okay, so you built an agency, built it up to some really good numbers, it sounds like, and then sold that off. And then what did you do next?
Then we coached. We coached actually mostly realtors and mostly million-plus earners around the United States and Canada. Good experience, but no leverage in that. It was one-on-one coaching, but it was, again, a phenomenal experience on coaching and developing and getting people to the finish line.
Okay, so you started teaching other realtors how to do what you did, and you talk about one-on-one coaching. Do you ever turn any of that into products, live events?
We didn't back then because I was actually partnered with a gentleman that had the core business back then. And so while I was doing that for him and with him, that's when we started doing more deals on our own, the rehabs and the condominium conversions, actually.
Okay, so that evolves from coaching to back into getting your hands dirty. In terms of working with the actual transactions themselves as opposed to coaching the agents. So then you're doing condo conversions, and then take us from condo conversions to what you're doing now.
Yeah, that's what happened. So that brought us to working into the 2008 debacle. And as you know, and everyone else knows, the national market took a serious hit. And so we were selling some of these condos, Seth, that were going for, say, 170 grand. I remember one project in particular. And overnight, you couldn't sell them for 50. And so it took me from, that was February of 08, like it was yesterday, I remember it. And it took me from that kind of shutdown where no financing was coming, the values got tanked. It took me from February of 08 till about the end of 12 to literally work out of properties that were upside down, going through short sales. I mean, it was a part-time to full-time job to get out of those properties. And that was quite a learning experience. And so that brought us to the end of 12. And we said, okay, we can't ever go back there again. So we re-engineered everything to say, look, we're not going to use our own money anymore. We're not going to sign on bank loans and pledge our credit and personal assets and all that stuff that happened during the 08 debacle that really hurt. And then that launched what we're doing in the terms business for the last, 5.5 years now. All
right. Now, you use the word terms, which some of our listeners may not be familiar with. What does that mean in English?
So in our world, terms means this. It means we buy only on lease purchase, owner financing, or subject to existing financing. Those are the only three ways that we buy.
Okay. So what do each one of those mean for our folks who are not in the real estate market?
Sure. So lease purchase means this. If you're a seller, and you have underlying debt, let's assume that for the first example, I'm going to purchase your home by way of a lease purchase. And that means I'm going to take over your payments. I'm going to make your payments to your bank on your mortgage. And from that point on, I'm capturing all the principal pay down. I'm going to agree on an end price with you. Could be the amount of the loan, could be a little bit more cash at the end. I'm going to handle all your maintenance, all your upkeep and repairs until some date that we agree on, usually 3 years. I'm going to then cash out your loan and any cash that I might have agreed to with you. I turn around and I sell that home, as I sell all our homes. We sell all our homes on rent-to-own buyers.
That is really cool. I was familiar with the lease purchase model, but I wasn't familiar with it the way you're doing it. It's almost like you could tell someone they could rent to own their own home.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Get out of your mortgage, lower your payments, don't have to worry about the maintenance and the upkeep. Rent your home as if it's an apartment, but end up owning it at the end.
Well, yeah. So think of the seller. If they're already renting, it's a no-brainer for what I'm going to say next. But if they're stuck, there's a number of scenarios, Seth. They owe too much. It's not selling functionality-wise. They owe just about enough to break even, but they can't afford to pay a realtor. All these scenarios. So we're a great fit for anyone that doesn't need the cash out today. If they can wait on it, or if they don't have any equity, we're a great fit.
Right. Okay, so that was lease purchase. What was number 2?
Owner financing. Owner financing, it means a lot. Like you said, things have been around, but to us, it means this. It means that the seller has zero debt on the property, and they are willing to, they'll get top price with us, but they're willing to take monthly payments against that price, no interest.
So they're holding the mortgage for you.
Until some date in the future. Usually it's 48 or 60 months with us.
And then you're doing like a balloon payment for the rest because you're selling it.
Yeah, but you got serious principal pay down. So we do the same sell. We sell to a rent-to-own buyer. who's making the payments to us, covering the debt, and we're getting 100% principal pay down on that payment. It's very lucrative. That one's our favorite for sure.
I bet. Okay, so lease purchase, owner financing, and then the third one.
Third one's subject to. Now, subject to what? Subject to an existing loan that's already on the property. This one, unlike the other two, are for people that are really in financial trouble. The other two, it has nothing to do with it. They can be very well off. This one, they just need debt relief. So they're willing to literally sell you their home for what is left on the loan and let you take the deed, ownership of the home, even though the loan stays in their name.
So this would be like for somebody who's underwater on their mortgage, who got hit, bought at the top of the market in Vegas and then got crushed.
Or they, I've seen a bunch of things, death, divorce, I got to leave the state. Recently, a guy took custody of his grandson and said, look, I'm leaving Monday. Can you come do that thing where you
I got to get out now.
Yep. Wow.
So you're really helping people out in all these situations.
Oh, it's great. It's super healthy, Seth. When I was a realtor, and I haven't been for years and years, and my son has resigned his license too, because in this environment, it's so super healthy. The buyers are ecstatic. The sellers are ecstatic. You're providing a lot of things for them. Absolutely.
That is absolutely incredible. So a very different way to approach the real estate market. Now, that's what are you still coaching? Are you coaching any agents at the moment?
We definitely don't coach agents. I haven't been in the realtor space since way back then, after that coaching, early 2000s. No, but we coach students and what we call associates. They're like partners all around the country with smart real estate.
So you're coaching individual investors in how to do what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that would be, who's your ideal customer or client for something like that?
It seems to be one of two things. One, someone that's in or tried to be in the investor space. I've had students who've spent ungodly amounts of money and not done any deals and then found us and they're doing deals. That's great. Or someone that's in the corporate world and they know they don't want that long term. They're trying to get a plan B in place. We've got a lot of success with that. We have literally students from age 33 to 73 right now.
That is awesome. I know exactly what you mean. I have a client who's a bankruptcy attorney, and he was telling me a story about a woman who came in to see him who had spent $60,000 on her credit cards on real estate education from a household name guru, had done one deal in a state she didn't live in for an apartment building as her first deal, was now underwater on that in addition to the credit card debt and needed to go bankrupt. So you're teaching
absolutely crazy.
The right thing. You're not hosing them, selling them products and courses that don't work. You're making sure they actually do deals and make money. That is a breath of fresh air in the fly-by-night infomercial real estate industry.
Yeah, you brought up a huge thing. If I can say two things about that. One is absolutely. I don't have, 50 products. We have one simple path and it's for the person that's serious only. They go to a webinar, they have a home study course, and then they can apply to be one of our associates. That's it. There's no other stuff because in our opinion, there's one business model that we do and that's it. We don't have all these fly-off products. And then the other thing you said was something alluded to or made me think of being in the trenches. There are a whole bunch, as you know, in the info business that aren't doing what they're teaching. And we do deals every day with our family, literally every week.
That is awesome. That speaks volumes to the fact that you're practicing what you preach. And it's not something you did 20 years ago that you're still teaching the same old methodology that might not work anymore. You're not saying, I read this in Carlton Sheets' book 30 years ago when I bought it for an infomercial and I regurgitated it and I'm selling it to you. It's,
right.
Hey, we're doing this literally every single day, same transaction we're telling you how to do. So if something were to change in the marketplace, you would know it and you wouldn't be still preaching the same thing because you'd have to adjust your own business model anyway.
That's right. Things change. Real estate changes every month, certainly every quarter. You can't be out of it.
Okay. So that is an awesome story. Give me an example. I don't know. You don't have to name any names if you have confidentiality policies in place, but talk to me about a recent student that went through your program, where they were before they found you and like, what is the magical transformation? Where are they now?
Sure. I've got a bunch, but I'm going to give you one that's our top runner right now because he's on my mind. He's actually the older of the group. He's 72. He's 20 years my senior, almost to the month. He had a tough time in the real estate debacle himself in 08, and that had some bleed over and just never reset, never got his business and his life back together. In 2000, and this would have been probably beginning of 17, end of 16, he did a lot of research, a lot of looking at courses, and then luckily decided to come with us and has now amassed not quite $1 million. I think he's probably up to 6 or 650 now in deals put together with us. Because when we create a deal set, I should have said this, every deal has 3 different paydays, and those paydays right now average around 75 grand per deal for us. he's in a market that's a little bit higher. He's actually averaging 6 figures per deal.
That is absolutely incredible. Now, when you say people can apply to become a partner, that doesn't sound like they're punching in their credit card for a $7 ebook. What does being a partner with you guys mean? Because that sounds a whole lot better.
Yeah. So what happens is if they go through the home study course, which is quite robust, it's, over 60 videos. Once they get through that, they know if they want to do this and how fast or slow, right? And then if they want to apply to be what we call an associate, they're literally locking arms with us. They're getting calls, not weekly, this regimen, but as needed. We kind of match effort for effort. We are helping them set their business up. We are doing calls with them with their sellers and buyers. We are critiquing tape calls if they're in a state that allows that. We're doing all kinds of hands-on things with them to do what? Do deals. And then eventually we cap out, meaning we do enough deals with them where we can step away if they want us to, because they don't need us for life. We've done enough where they understand it and they can run with it. And it's such a cool experience because this piece of execution, like getting deals done, that's the piece that's missing. People buying stuff.
Because there's tons of education, but not enough execution.
Yeah, so that's why we added that. It's just a cool program. They come into the office for 2 days. It's part of the program. It's very, very hands-on.
So it sounds like you're doing things in a way that is, God, so sorely needed in this industry where, it's course after course. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but there's course after course of all these real estate gurus, where, their business is all about selling the education.
You got it.
All about the product. And if the students succeed or not, that's great. And they get obviously testimonials that they can use to market their stuff. But it's probably, and obviously we would hope that they have their students' best interests at heart and that they want their students to succeed. But in all reality, they're probably making 90-something% of their income off of their course sales, where it sounds like if you're actually doing the deals with your students, you've got way more incentive to make sure they succeed because you'll end up making more money that way and everybody wins.
That's our only intent. It's part of our value, mission, and purpose statement for the company. And I could take, and I've been criticized by other mentors without using names, because I could take my course that has 60 plus videos, and I could literally create about 10 or 15, if not more, products from them. Instead, I put it all in one and go, here you go. If you're serious, here it is. If you want to keep going.
So you're not selling 10 different upsell. It's, I'll give you everything I got. Here's the whole enchilada. This is everything I know. You want to do it with this, great. You don't, that's okay too. But if you want to do it, we'll literally hold you by the hand without charging you an arm and a leg and help you do it.
That's exactly right. And you don't need to do too many deals at 75 grand, a pop on average.
Okay.
Really.
So now obviously you mentioned that magic number a couple of times and you've piqued our curiosity. So what type of deal are you talking about where where you said there's 3 paydays and $75,000? So give me an example.
So, and this is what I do in the book too. So I go through, if you're my seller, I'm going to structure a deal with you and then I'm going to sell it, I said, to a rent-to-own buyer. And where are the 3 paydays coming up? It's pretty cool because any business needs this. It's cash right now when I put my buyer in the home because I'm collecting their non-refundable down payment to make sure they're serious. It's then a monthly cash flow because remember on the lease or the owner financing, I'm paying something out, but I'm collecting a little bit more from my buyer, I hope. So there's the spread. It's a few $100 per house. And then on the back end, there's the payday of the markup in price plus the principal pay down. So you literally have 3 scheduled paydays whereby someone could, and that's why a lot of the retirement people look at this too, someone could do 7, 8, 10, 12 deals and know for this many years, they're literally all set, or they could keep cranking it up,
That is absolutely awesome. For our folks who are listening and resonating with this and saying, wow, this is really, really interesting. Where should we send them? What's the best place for them to go to learn more?
Sure. They can just go to my website, smartrealestatecoach.com that you mentioned. And on there is a free webinar. If they don't mind listening to me for another 60 or 70 minutes, they can get a free webinar. You mentioned the podcast, another great place to hang out and listen to some great minds.
That is absolutely awesome. Congratulations on all the people you're helping and all the success you've had. Anything else you want to share with our audience before we let you go? We know your time is really valuable.
No, I appreciate it. I would just tell anyone, because you get all different kinds of cool listeners and entrepreneurs. I don't care what space you're in. Find a mentor that you and I just said is doing what you want to do, not has been, and then latch on to them for 2 or 3 years. Don't look left, right, or backward. Just go forward, erase the whiteboard, and go forward, and you'll have great success.
That is awesome. Chris Prefontaine, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Seth.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.